11th grade English, most improved student. We proudly award Eli Costello, 11th grade English, most improved student. Zoe Carroll, 11th grade English, most outstanding student. Chemistry, Jane Grider, most outstanding student virtual. Chemistry, Kanasia Davis, most improved student. Chemistry, Keller Bigum, most outstanding student. Algebra 2, Keller Bigum, most outstanding student. Algebra 2, Hannah Herring, most improved student. Mm-hmm. 11th grade English, most improved student, Aaliyah Smith. Eleventh grade English, most outstanding student, Joseph Turner. Agriculture Science, most outstanding student, Connor McDermott. Agriculture Science, most improved student, Joseph Turner. please come to the stage. National Career Readiness Certification. Juniors, Platinum, Jaden Brighter, Aiden Reynolds, Bailey Solis, Caleb Strickland. Gold, J.C. Ashcraft, Keller Bigham, Annie Figueroa, Hector Torres, Leah Wolf, and Lucy Woodard. Silver, Brianna Campbell, Eli Castillo, Ruth Ann Corker, Landon Jennings, Harley Lotta, and Colton Satterley. Bronze, Jaden Boyd, Zoe Carroll, to Cameron Phillips, and Austin Saunders. These students will also receive certification awards next year as seniors. Congratulations, students. Facts. Certificate of Completion, Ever 5, Financial Literacy, Olivia Brown. Certificate of Achievement, Serve Safe, Ashley Broughton, Serve Safe Food Handler. Serve Safe Food Handler, Certificate of Achievement, Hector Torres. Serve Safe Food Handler, Certificate of Achievement, Leslie Vega. Serve Safe Food Handler, Certificate of Achievement, Leah Wolf. Good morning. Warren High School, 11th grade. Okay, so I am Debbie McDermott and I'm Director of CDEC, and we are going to do the Career and Technical Honor Awards. It may be Most Outstanding Student, Most Improved, but many of you also received certifications. So just because y'all, and today we have plenty of these awards to give out. So I'm super proud. You guys did not disappoint. You stepped up. We lost a lot of students due to having to go virtual this year, but you guys that took our classes, you did succeed. I'm going to start out. The way that I'm going to do this is you will get all your awards at one time. Okay, so when I call you, you'll just come to the stage at one time. Starting out with most outstanding student in human anatomy and physiology, Keller Biggle. Isaiah Boyd, interview module certification. This will be something he'll be able to use for job applications and as a reference that he has employability skills. Jaden Boyd, CPR certification. Nakasi Boyd, OSHA 10 certification. Ashlyn Broughton, FEMA hazardous materials for medical personnel certificate. Olivia Brown, most improved student in construction fundamentals. Representing little girl power. She also earned her OSHA 10 certification, and she also took the paraprofessional certification from her teacher cadet program. She is now eligible to be hired within school districts across Arkansas to work as a classified employee when she turns 18. Chandler Bird. Just a minute. He has earned over 40-something certifications this year. Chandler Bird has earned communication certification, FEMA, an introduction to hazardous materials, FEMA, an introduction to National Incident Management System, FEMA, an overview of unified federal review process, training for federal disaster recovery leadership certificate, FEMA Animals in Disasters Awareness and Preparedness certificate, FEMA Animals in Disasters Community Planning certificate, FEMA Anticipating Hazardous Weather and Community Risk certificate, FEMA Benefit Cost Analysis Fundamentals certificate, FEMA Building Design for Homeland Security and for Continuity of Operations certificate, FEMA Building for Earthquakes of Tomorrow, FEMA Civil Rights and Disaster Assistance certificate, FEMA Developing and Managing Volunteers certificate, FEMA DHS Common Operating Picture application, FEMA Diversity Awareness course, FEMA EEO Employee Course certificate, EEO Supervisor course certificate, FEMA forms used for the development of the Incident Action Plan, FEMA Fundamentals of Emergency Management certificate, FEMA Geospatial Information Infrastructure certificate, Geospatial FEMA Information System Specialist, Guide to the Points of Distribution certificate, Hazardous Materials for Medical Personnel, Implementing the Defense Command System certificate. Introduction to Unified Hazardous Mitigation Assistance certificate. Female Leadership and Influence, Livestock and Disaster certificate. Managerial Safety and Health, Military and Emergency Management certificate. Multi-Hazard Planning for Child Care certificate. Orientation to FEMA Logistics certificate. Overview of FEMA Environmental and Historic Preservation Review Responsibilities certificate. Preparing for Federal Disaster Operations certificate. Radiological Emergency Management certificate. Safety Orientation certification. Social Media in Emergency Management certificate. FEMA Special Events Contingency Planning for Public Safety Agencies certificate. Telecommunications Emergency Response Task Force certificate. The Homeland Security Geospatial Concept of Operations for Planners and Decision Makers certificate. The Homeland Security Geospatial Concept of Operations in-depth certificate. Travel Rules and Regulations certificate. Most Outstanding in Foundations of Law Enforcement. And that is finally it. If we have any other crisis, I will be going to Chandler Burn. Okay, set your calendar. CPR certification in OSHA 10. Brianna Campbell. Cybersecurity certification in FEMA. An Introduction to Hazardous Materials. And FEMA Hazardous Materials for Medical Personnel certificate. Stephanie Canuto. She has FEMA, an Introduction to National Incident Management System. FEMA, Introduction to Continuity of Operations Planning for Pandemic Influenzas certificate. And FEMA for the Role of Voluntary Agencies in Emergency Management certificate. And then also, Most Outstanding Student in Human Behavior and Disorders. Outstanding Student in Foundations of Healthcare. Zoe Carroll. An Introduction to Hazardous Materials. Civil Rights and Disaster Assistance certificate. Diversity Awareness Course certificate. Hazardous Materials for Medical Personnel certificate. FEMA Multi-Hazard Emergency Planning for Schools certificate. FEMA Preparing for Mass Casualty Incidents, Guide for Schools, Higher Education, and Houses of Worship certificate. FEMA Safety Orientation certificate. These FEMA certifications can be obtained through our medical or criminal justice, and many of these are our criminal justice students. Eli Castillo. Most Improved Student in Metal Fabrications. And OSHA 10 certification. Israel Castillo. FEMA, an Introduction to National Incident Management System. FEMA, an Introduction to Continuity of Operations Planning for Pandemic Influenzas certificate. FEMA, the Role of Voluntary Agencies in Emergency Management Certificate. Melissa Chavez, FEMA, an Introduction to Hazardous Materials. Haley Childs, FEMA Civil Rights and Disaster Assistance Certificate. FEMA Introduction to Emergency Management for Higher Education Certificate. FEMA Multi-Hazard Emergency Planning for School Certificate. FEMA Preparing for Mass Casualty Incidents Guide for Schools, Higher Education, and Houses for Worship. Kevin Porthos, Cybersecurity Certification, Most Outstanding Student in Computer Engineering, OSHA 10 Certification. Riley Cornish, FEMA, an Introduction to Hazardous Materials Certificate. FEMA Hazardous Materials for Medical Personnel Certificate. Cameron Crawford, CPR certification and OSHA 10 certification. Haley Curry, CPR certification. John Danley, Most Outstanding Student in Construction Lab and OSHA 10 certification. Kanasia Davis, FEMA Civil Rights and Disaster Assistance Certificate. Michael Doggett, Career Safe Certification and Cybersecurity Certification. Clayton Dunaway, Cybersecurity Certification, Most Outstanding Student in Computer Engineering. Lucas Emerson, Cybersecurity Certification. Alexandra Estrada, Career Safe Certification. Gabriel Evans, FEMA Civil Rights and Disaster Assistance Certificate. FEMA Introduction to Emergency Management for Higher Education Certificate. FEMA Multi-Hazard Emergency Planning for Schools. FEMA Preparing for Mass Casualty Incidents Guide for Schools, Higher Education, and Houses of Worship. Austin Jordan, Career Safe Certification. Luis Gonzalez, Cybersecurity Certification, Most Outstanding Student in Metal Fabrication. He also has his OSHA 10 certification. And cybersecurity. Jaden Grider, Outstanding Student in Foundations of Healthcare. Nathaniel Hancock, FEMA active shooter certificate. Miles Hargrave, OSHA 10 certification. Weston Hargrave, most outstanding student in welding lab and OSHA 10 certification. Hannah Herron, CPR certification. Kayla Holloman, FEMA and Introduction to the National Incident Management System certificate. FEMA Civil Rights Disaster Assistance certificate. Interview module certification. Samuel Hollingsworth, interview module certification. Keely Hewitt, and FEMA and Introduction to Hazardous Materials certificate. FEMA Civil Rights and Disaster Assistance certificate. And FEMA Hazardous Materials for Medical Personnel certificate. Caleb Huntley, OSHA 10 certification. Monica Jacinto, FEMA Civil Rights and Disaster Assistance, Multi-Hazard Emergency Planning for School certification. Daniel Johnson, Interview Module certification. Most Outstanding Student in Plumbing, OSHA 10 certification. Giovanni Juarez, CPR certification, FEMA Active Shooter certificate, FEMA and Introduction to Hazardous Materials certificate, FEMA Civil Rights and Disaster Assistance certificate. David Kessler, Cybersecurity certification. Victoria Lee, OSHA 10 certification. Celeste Martin, CPR certification, FEMA and Introduction to Hazardous Materials certificate. Gavin Martin, FEMA Civil Rights and Disaster Assistance certificate. Ronald Martin, Cybersecurity certification, FEMA and Introduction to National Incident Management System certificate. FEMA, Introduction to Continuity of Operations Planning for Pandemic Influenzas certificate. The Role of Voluntary Agencies in Emergency Management certificate. Most Improved Student in Computer Engineering. Most Outstanding Student in Foundations of Healthcare. Madeline Meeks, Cybersecurity certification. Kimberly Damon, FEMA, an Introduction to the National Incident Management System. Raven Owens, OSHA 10 certification. Chloe Phelps, CPR certification, Cybersecurity certification, Most Improved Student in Computer Engineering. Cameron Phillips, CPR certification. Sharon Richardson, CPR certification. Christian Rodriguez, Interview Module certification, Most Outstanding Student in Construction Fundamentals. And OSHA 10 certification. Tony Roque, FEMA and Introduction to Hazardous Materials. Juan Ross, Communication certification, Most Improved Student in Welding, OSHA 10 certification. OSHA 10 certification. Blaine Savage, OSHA 10 certification. Isaiah Sims, cybersecurity certification. Most improved student in human behavior and disorder. Aaliyah Smith, cybersecurity certification. Creed Smith, CPR certification. Peyton Spears, career safe certification. Josh Strickland, career safe certification. Preston Thompson, CPR certification, outstanding student in Foundations of Healthcare. Hector Torres. Hector is a member of HOSA. He competed in the virtual state competition. He placed second in the cultural diversity at the HOSA State Leadership Conference this year. He has also earned his CPR certification. He will also, for that state award, he will be receiving a medal. Jessica Trejo, FEMA, an introduction to the National Incident Management System certificate, FEMA Rights and Disaster Assistance certificate, FEMA introduction to continuity of operations planning for pandemic influenza certificate, FEMA introduction to emergency management for higher education certificate, FEMA multi-hazard emergency planning for school certificate, FEMA preparing for mass casualty incidents, guide for schools, higher education and houses of worship certificate, FEMA, the role of voluntary agencies in emergency management certificate, most outstanding student in human behavior and disorder certificate. Joseph Turner, interview module certification, most improved student in carpentry. Jamison Weeks, career safe certification, communication certification, and cybersecurity certification. James Wells, communication certification, cybersecurity certification, human resources certification, most outstanding student in carpentry, and OSHA 10 certification, and time management certification. Leah Wolf, most outstanding student in Foundations of Healthcare. Tristan Woodall, most outstanding student in plumbing, OSHA 10 certification. Jacob Morax, communication certification, most improved student in construction fundamentals, OSHA 10 certification. Malisha Yao, FEMA, Civil Rights and Disaster Assistance Certificate, and Chandler Haynes, Cybersecurity Certification. Thank you, 11th grade, for taking the time this year to spend, because this was many hours that you've spent in order to get these certifications. I am mandated by the state to report you as a Warren High School student, so you are making your school very successful when I turn these into the state. So we appreciate you. Ms. Gaten, I appreciate the time for being able to make these announcements.
Thank you, Mrs. McDermott. At this time, I'm going to ask Warren High School's graduating class of 2022 to rightfully take their spot in the Culture Center. You are now the seniors of Warren High School. This concludes our grade level award ceremony for our now seniors.